Hey folks, end all be all here, and we are back with the very final match of the season, and what a match it was. Let me tell you, it was a roller coaster of emotions, tons of things, risks taken on both sides, my side and the opponent's side, and a very close and unexpected outcome. So I'll explain all of that in detail. Hopefully, you'll enjoy watching the match as much as I enjoyed playing it. So before going into the match, I did win the first two matches this week, and I'm at about 3993. I think the skill rating of around 4000 is probably where I'll ultimately land up. I don't know if I'll be able to. This is probably going to be my wall. 4000 to 4050 is, or so is probably where I will keep fluctuating. The caliber of opponents at this stage is simply tremendous, and I'm having a tough time keeping up with both the rosters and the gameplay style. But I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's a decent enough level to be at. Let's go ahead and take a look at our current opponent. This week, all three of my opponents were 1 million legacy championship banners, and have been previously ranked 150 or below in the prior version of GAC. So legit all crazy opponents, and really good players. That's the case with GazozlarBenden as well. So GazozlarBenden is from the guild Mighty Chlorians United, a really good guild, one of the top guilds, very TW focused. So he's aware of all the counters, all the modding is on point. Pretty good player. You can see over here, previously reached Kyber rank 127, legacy championship score of about little above 1 million. And in terms of the roster, he's got pretty much all the GLs. There's no ultimate on Lord Vader, very similar to how I've got Sith Eternal and no ultimate on him. But otherwise, pretty well stocked roster. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I decided to do for this matchup. Now, my opponent, typically I've seen him keep one or two GLs on defense. Typically Lord Vader, given that he's not had his ultimate. The last 2 weeks at least, he's kept Lord Vader on defense, typically at the front. So that's what I was expecting to see. And because of the fact that he only keeps one GL on defense and saves 5 on offense, I decided to go extremely heavy on defense. And this is what I did. I put down a total of 4 GLs on defense and gas and Darth Revan. The Darth Revan I put down with Talon, and then there's SLKR in there, there's Gas, and then there's Jedi Master Kenobi, and then at the back over here, I kept Rey in there with Heroes and Holdo and JTR. So just hoping that he exhausts a lot of good teams up front and is short on choices at the back. Wanted him to exhaust C, which is why I had Gas in front. Wanted him to exhaust JMK, which is why I had my own JMK up front, and I knew that he will probably take in SLKR versus the Lord Vader. So that means just a JML squad. I had to make sure that he exhausts that as well. And SLKR down south is the perfect way to exhaust that. So the other two teams are really nothing much to worry about. I decided to, hopefully stall him with Rey at the back. And then at the top, I kept my own Lord Vader and placed Mon Mothma with Kyle Katarn. Instead of Kara, I decided to put in Biston. This is the TM version of it. And then I placed in the Bando team, with Boba and Dengar. And then I placed the EP team as well with Mara and Vader. This team, if you don't have the right counter to it, it can get problematic, especially with the pre-taunt in there. If I had Shore, I would have probably put that in instead of Sith Trooper, but that's fine. I think even this version is okay. So I was hoping to get a hold or two, or at least able to stop my opponent from clearing, because I knew if they exhausted most of the GLs up front, they would have problems with the Rey at the back. So that was my goal, because 4 GLs, gas, DR, all of that on defense, I felt might be problematic for my opponent. And then for ships, I really didn't think much. I kept my standard executive fleet on defense with 2 bounty hunters and reinforcement, and I kept the Tarkin fleet with 2 tanks up front. That tends to be a little bit banner stripping. My opponent usually keeps Executor and Negotiator on defense. He's got really good ships and plays ships pretty well. So I wanted to make sure that I cleared his ship zone in one shots. So I kept my own Negotiator and Malevolence on offense to counter the Executor and Negotiator. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what my opponent has placed. So there's the Lord Vader, non-ultimate Lord Vader, as I was expecting, right in the front. He's kept a couple of other teams over here, mostly weaker teams. Mon Mothma, it's not the good version with Kyle Katarn. There's a weak Finn team. Huck's team could be problematic. I think since he's kept SLKR up there. He's kept SLKR on offense. I'm assuming to use with Nightsisters against my own team. He's kept the rest of his good first order squad on defense. So that's what I was expecting. And then over here he's kept a few tricky squads, I think mostly to try to pull some GLs from me. I really have only two GLs on offense, my Sith Eternal, non-ultimate, and then JML. So obviously I'm going to save the JML for the Lord Vader on top, and decided to use something else on these guys over here. So there's Maul with Bando in there, with BAM in there, which can get a little tricky, especially in R7 BAM. And he's also got Django in there. It's a high damage dealing team. And then you've got Darth Revan with Talon in there. I think his Darth Revan was 341 plus 20, 361 or so. I've had a bad time with Troopers against that team, so I wanted to take something else. And then he's got the GG team, and then he's got the Newt squad. So let's go ahead and tackle the Darth Revan squad first. So in the last couple of matches, I've been handling Darth Revan using Maul. So this is the squad that I usually take in: Maul, Candrace, Bo, Django for the damage, and Watt for the first mover advantage. The goal over here is to power down a few key characters as soon as you can, and then go for the others. So the versions I've taken out before did not have Marauder. So here you see, I wanted to take out Marauder first because he is extremely problematic. He hits hard and can get people down extremely fast. So problem is with all these buffs on the field, he's got so much of defense, but Maul is able to take care of him initially, but he did exhaust all three of his initial stack with that. So I need to get back into my stacks with Maul, because these guys are going, they're applying fear everywhere. Three of my characters got feared, and I'm trying to do what I can to maintain the damage. Now, unfortunately, you'll see over here, these guys are going pretty frequently, and I'm stuck behind Malak Taunt because I need to get Basti out as soon as possible. The goal is, before Darth Revan starts to go, you need to have Basti out. But over here, look at the amount of damage that these guys are doing, and because they were able to get that much damage done, my Maul has got death mark on him, which is not a good sign. If I don't get that death mark off, then I am pretty much dead. So here's where I was thinking, maybe instead of Django, who's relatively weak and easy to get into red or yellow health, I should probably had Armorer in there for more reliability. Because you see over here, I got feared, and then my Maul got taken out. And once my Maul got taken out, there's really no other source for damage in there. Django is not going to be able to do enough damage on his own. And over here you see there's one drain from Malak, and my team is gone. It's a preloaded one as well. So not a good way to start, especially going against an opponent like this, a really good opponent. This is an absolutely horrible way to start. And I wanted to leave that Darth Revan cleanup for a little later, and I wanted to take out the other squads first. Maul squad. Now the Maul team is, again, there's no Watt in there, so it's slightly easier, but there's still a very fast Django in there, 315 speed or something. And the moment that anyone does a special over here, Maul is going to go and start taking teams out. And I've got Zam in there, so she's going to be going first and letting my whole team go first. The goal is to annihilate Maul as soon as I can. So I start the taunt with Bosk, and I do over here, I believe I do a special so that Bosk gets to go next. I do a basic with Bosk because I don't want to overtake turn meter from Mando, so I do a basic with Bosk. And now with the mass assist from Grief, I stun Bam. And then I'm at about 90%. So here I do another mass assist and make sure that all my team gets turn meter. And now my BAM is ready to go and execute Maul on this turn. Once Maul is gone, this team is extremely easy to take out. There's really no threat over here. It can be very easily controlled with stuns and there's more than enough damage on this team to take this team out pretty effectively for full banners. So Maul is done. It's a really clean counter to Maul. Once, especially if you play your cards right and don't let Pam take a turn to put healing immunity on Maul or someone else like that, um, you know, um, or one of the tanks, then it's a pretty easy counter. So the next person to take out is going to be Bam because he's going to be problematic with his healing immunity and all of that. Um, I'm doing the basics with the Zam on thermals when I can. Do a little heal over here, take out Jango Fett for the first time, taunt again with Bosk, and try to control the team with stuns, basics from Aura. And then whenever I can, I spread the thermals and then keep popping the thermals with Zam so that I take a turn with her again. And finally, one character left, and Zam is able to take care of her for to end with 65 banners. So really a very clean way, especially if you've got the Omicron on Zam, to take care of the Maul team. Next, I decided to. So here's the Newt squad that he typically keeps with B1 and B2. There's really no healing on this team apart from B1. So Nightsisters do a good enough job over here. Just need to make sure that plague is spread as much as possible, and you stun as many characters as you can. So that's where I do my AOE, start spreading the plague around, and I couldn't get rid of the extortion over here because I was ability blocked, but just trying to make sure that I have enough plague on the enemy team and that my Daka is healed up at all times. That's extremely crucial in this counter. No need to use the heal right now. Just try to attempt a stun. So that's one zombie death exhausted. It's still maintaining plague on a lot of people. The problem with this comp is, B2, B1, unless you take care of him early, he starts building stacks up very easily. In Grievous teams, he loses stacks, but in this team, he starts building stacks very easily if you don't take care of him with plague. So as long as he's got plague on him and he keeps taking turns, he ends up losing stacks pretty frequently. So here I delay on reviving Talzin back because I want to stack up a little bit of health. Um, if this was Dooku lead, I would have had the additional problem of healing immunity once they fall below 100% health, and that would have been problematic for Daka. But it's Newt lead, so that is manageable a little more easily. Newt lead I find is not as threatening in 5v5 as 3v3, especially with a team like this. You can very easily take care of it with quite cheaply. So Nightsisters was a good enough outcome over here. I don't know what other team would have managed, easily enough, because I think GBA would have probably done a decent job. I could have used Geos as well, but Geos are also great for cleanup for GL. So that's the reason I usually like to save GL's GBA for the back. So Nightsisters now almost took care of it. There's one final death left on Newt. Wanted to make sure that I end with full health and full protection, so I'm taking it easy now and trying to make sure that I have a chance to heal, and then end with the 60 banner win, which is the par for Nightsisters. Usually end with full health but no protection on anyone. Now, since I've already used up the Nightsisters on Grievous, on the Newt team, I couldn't use Nightsisters against this team. So this is an interesting comp. You have this is the turn meter train, which goes off right at the beginning. You can use Huck's lead to prevent the turn meter generation, and then focus down on Grievous and take him down as soon as possible. Or you can use Nightsisters. That team is a little, it's not as dependable. I could have used Nightsisters over here with Talia for the cleansing, because IG 88 has got the Zeta, so that's going to prevent heal on target lock. But I did not want to risk another loss. I've already lost once on Darth Revan. If I took in Sisters over here and I lost, that would have been game over for me because there's a high chance that my opponent would have cleared me with 5 GLs on offense. And I did not want to risk that. So I decided to go ahead and take in the Jedi team to maintain a decent amount of banners. So here it's very simple because there's no B2 in there to get turn meter. So the focus is very simple. You just go ahead and make sure that you survive one AoE, and then go and focus down on Grievous and try to take him down before he gets to go again. So that's what I'm doing over here. Little bit of health left, and Grievous is out. Once Grievous is out, it's a very easy enough team to manage. You need to take care of T3 M4 next because the longer he stays on the board, the more damage he does. Stun BB8 over here, and now I'm being a little cautious not to get IPD below 100% health. Because if he tends to go below 100% health, if he gets a turn, then he can go and explode on someone. So I ended with 64 banners over here, just a little bit of loss on Ayla, but was able to clear this for decent banners because now I'm trying to maintain as many banners as I can. So the only team left over here is Darth Revan, and I didn't want to use anything too expensive to clean up. Well, Qui-Gon Jinn is expensive in a way, but I wanted to make sure that I do clean this up without using my GL or anything else. I really don't have many good squads which can survive a Darth Revan, a preloaded Darth Revan. Maybe my CLS might have gone and sniped Basti given the chance, and then I don't know how it would have survived against the others. Maybe Malik and Darth Revan might have taken care of them all by themselves. But this team at least has got some amount of survivability, and I felt that if I can save Anakin's AoE until after Qui-Gon Jinn dies, I might be able to one-shot the team pretty cleanly. So that's what I did over here. Darth Revan cleanup's not easy, but I had no other choice. So Barris in there just for that extra bit of heal on crit. And these guys are going pretty often, and you'll notice over here my Anakin got feared, so he didn't get to go. I'm trying to take care of Basti now, and you can see over here, was able to get rid of Basti, but unfortunately over here, Darth Revan went and feared my Qui-Gon Jinn. He attacked him, killed him, and my Jedi Knight Anakin was feared, unfortunately, so he couldn't do his AoE. And not only is he feared, he's also ability blocked, so I can't do the AoE on my next turn even if I wanted to. So this is really problematic to me. But that was good to see. I mean, Barris with a 227k crit on Malik. I mean, that's something that you don't see very often. So, now that Qui-Gon Jinn has died, the team has got like crazy offense. And I was able to lose some banners, but I was able to ultimately clean up this team without without wasting any more of my teams. So let's see what's at the back. I was expecting Qui-Gon Jinn, so I had my Bad Batch over there at the back. I was expecting a few other squads that he usually keeps on defense. And then when I see at the back, he's got his Rey in there. He's got two other weaker squads. There's a JTR without BB-8, and then there's Bosk with the ZAM Omicron. So that might be a little tricky. But look at the Rey comp. It's a Rey with Cat, which is pretty tricky for most GL comps to take out. And as if Cat wasn't enough to give him the offense boost, give the stat boost, there's also R2-D2 in there to give the stat boost. So there's two characters in there giving the stat boost. There's GK in there for a persistent taunt, and then there's Barris in there who will always help to recover health anytime that you crit either Cat or Rey. So you can't really focus down on Rey or Cat before hitting Barris, and Barris is going to be tough to hit because there's going to be GK in there always taunting, and R2-D2 in there hiding all the time. So this is a very tough comp that people like to keep. A lot of people like to keep L3 instead of GK, but this comp also is extremely tough. I know that I think Pimpo kept a similar comp like this against Arnold today, and I know that Fatal likes to use this comp pretty frequently as well. So I didn't know what I had to take this out because I had two GLs, but Sith Eternal was without an ultimate, and it'll be useless against both the GLs, Lord Vader as well as Rey. So I had effectively only one GL that I needed to use to take out either one of these teams, Rey team with Cat or the Lord Vader team. So I decided that I was going to use JML versus Lord Vader, but I decided to save it versus this particular team over here, the Rey team. So you can see over here, I had no option but to take my troopers versus troopers and Shark T versus Lord Vader. Now I've never tried this counter before. This is the very first time I'm trying it. There's no Maul in this or a fast Vader or something like that to make things tricky. So this should be a reasonably it's reasonably straightforward as long as you're able to maintain the turn meter train. So my Piet is faster. He got to go before Shark T, but I um, end up giving the mark to Dark Trooper. Shark T cleanses everyone, so there's no dots on everyone. So now I can gain turn meter. I decide to target Show Trooper since he's a yellow health or yellow gear, so that's G12, and I'm trying to get a quick kill as soon as I can. So I target Show Trooper, get him down as soon as I can. The problem is crew is going to be doing countering all the time. So I apply a daze over here, and luckily the daze landed. So now I can take care of these guys without the bother of crew countering me all the time. You can see Lord Vader is almost at full turn meter, but I'm trying to see if I can't take the others down as soon as possible. Um, this My troopers are not the best. Like my range is only G12 and my Dark Trooper is only R5, I think. But I'm trying my best to get as many buffs as I can and get as many as much of the Emperor's trap as I can to try to take these guys down. So Kylo Ren and Mask is almost down, and Tarkin is a pretty easy enough target to get down since he's really not a tank. Another fourth tank over here might have been more problematic. And you can see over here, Vader is almost about to go. I do the mass assist, but again, not much damage. He's still in the yellow right now. My Sith Empire Trooper, my Dark Trooper is doing a decent amount of damage, and over here I do manage to take him out. So luckily, this particular counter worked for Great Banner 64, and I was able to one-shot this particular team. So that piece helped me out a little bit. Um, because then it allows me to use my JML versus the Rey, and it's going to be a tough team to take out because I don't have any Jedi left at all. One thing that my opponent did very well was he pulled my Jedi team in the front wall. That's I think that's the reason he put the GG with the BB-8 in there because I either taken Nightsisters or I taken my Jedi in there because I can't use Bad Batch over there. So since I used my Jedi Knight Revan over there to mark Grievous, I didn't have Jedi Knight Revan to use in this team to mark Cat because that is extremely important when you're taking JML over here. You need premium Jedi. You need a damage dealer like Cam or Jedi Knight Luke. You need Hermit Yoda for the extra offense. Shakti is great over here as well. Um, and JKR is almost an essential to have to mark Cat down because it's not an easy team to take down. And I only had three decent Jedi Knight Luke, Jedi Master Luke, and Hermit Yoda. I took in Old Ben in there because if he dies, at least he gives some amount of turn meter and some amount of protection and health recovery and some buffs. And I took in Ezra. Ezra is only G12, but I had no choice. I wasn't really sure that this was going to work. In fact, I was confident that the first ultimate from Rey is going to take me out because with Cat in there, Rey does tremendous amounts of damage, and with R2D2 in there to also give the stat boost. Luckily, my Jedi Master Luke is faster, so I applied Efflux on everyone, get turn meter on everyone, and I get ability blocks on everyone, and I'm able to keep everyone under control. Apply a second ability block with Old Ben, and that's really important. You keep preventing Rey from going into her lifeblood, and that makes Cat a little easier to take out. So I'm trying not to get anyone under yellow health because that might trigger the whirlwind from Rey. If I had Basti, I would have probably taken Basti over here as well to apply ability block, but I don't. So I know that I need to take out Cat before Rey goes into ultimate. Otherwise, there's going to be hell to pay. There's going to be a monstrous ultimate which is going to come out. So that's what I'm trying to do. There's unfortunately not enough damage on this team, and I'm trying to get Cat down, but she is just too thick, especially with Barris in there. Anytime that I crit her, she regains back all of that health. So I'm really not able to get any damage done. And because of GK over there, she's got critical damage immunity as well, which I've had to dispel from time to time. So Rey is almost at ultimate. Her turn meter is almost done, and Cat is in damage immunity, so I can't even touch her. So all I can do is ensure that I get to my own ultimate, and hopefully pop that and hope that people survive before Rey goes into her ultimate. So there I go. I pop my ultimate, and now I do a little heal to make sure that most people survive. Again, ability block on everyone. So Old Ben was really useful for that. A couple of sources of ability block. Another efflux from Jedi Master Luke, because I don't want R2D2 to start hiding people, and another stun. So I'm doing what I can to control the situation, but it's not looking good. I don't have any damage at all, and look at that, a big whirlwind from Rey, and I actually paused it and I took a look at the amount of damage that she does. With Cat and R2D2 in there, she did about 800,000 of damage total for my team. Usually she does about 300 to 350,000 in damage in her ultimate, but 800,000 is a crazy amount of damage. And the main reason for the damage is the stat boost that Cat and R2D2 give, but also the amount of turn meter generation that my team is getting. All that boosts up Rey's mastery as well. So Cat is still not out. Everyone is in green health, and I'm in a tough situation. My Ezra obviously was going to be the first one to bite the bullet. Each one of them got 160 K hit to the face. So I know that I need to take out Cat as soon as possible. Otherwise, I am not going to survive another ultimate. So that's what I do over here. There's already damage immunity on Cat, so I do what I can to take Cat out, eat another ultimate from another whirlwind from Rey, and again ability block to prevent the lifeblood from going out. And now I realize that I probably need to work on Rey to take her out. But before I can take out Rey, because she's healing with every crit, I need to take out Barris. So that's what I do. I have to go after Barris at this stage. So that's why this team is so good. Is because there are multiple targets that you need to attack before you can even get to Rey. So one big efflux from Jedi Master Luke is able to take care of Barris and R2D2. So now there's no more source of stat boost, but all the turn meter generation that my team has been doing has been giving a lot of stat boost already to Rey. So even though there won't be like 850k of damage that we saw with Cat and R2D2 in there, there is still there's still a ton of damage which happens over here. And you can see over here when Rey comes out, there's about 170k damage on each person, with 120k damage on Jedi Master Luke. So even without Cat and Rey and Cat and R2D2 in there, there's still about 600k of damage which gets done on my team. So Hermit Yoda bites the dust and Old Ben bites the dust. Another advantage of Old Ben in there is at least he managed to heal up my two main characters, Jedi Master Luke and Jedi Knight Luke, and that allowed them to survive a little more in order to take the GK and Rey out. So extremely stressful battle, and I was being very mindful of quite a few moves that I made. But ultimately, you can see over here, low banners, but I was able to get the one shot. So now I knew that I was in the running. Because at this point, by this time, what my opponent had done was he had cleared my character zone completely. And not only cleared, he had one shot my character zone completely. I was actually surprised. Having only 4 GLs on offense, he took out 4 of my GLs, as well as Gas and DR and a few of the other tricky teams like BAM and all that, without dropping a single battle. And it was reasonably efficient as well. So 1375, and he has one shot, and I've already dropped one battle and got very low banners on other teams. So Hope was still alive because he hadn't touched the ship zone. So I needed to make sure that I one-shot everything else and made sure that I do it with high efficiency, because my hopes of holding a zone are no longer there. Now this has turned into an efficiency match rather than a slugfest. So I need to make sure that I do whatever I can to recover as many banners as possible. So it's become extremely tense, and efficiency is not my style of play. So Hux, I did have Bad Batch in there. This is a very easy match. Bad Batch is a hard counter to Hux. They all start with advantage. So there's tons of buffs in there to give turn meter to my team. And once you dispel the advantage, my whole team gets turn meter pretty easily. And with a double turn stun from Wrecker in there, the rest of the team just simply melts away as Omega assists with the defense up in there. So this is a very easy counter, and I was sure I was going to get 65 over here. So this was a no-brainer. I've decided to go ahead and take this particular team out. Now, let's take a look at what else we have that we can take out for good banners, because I'm under tremendous pressure right now. I almost, thought that I'm going to, there's probably no chance of me winning, and I almost thought of, testing stuff out, but I thought, let me give it my best shot. I still had CLS over here, and a really good team to, take against Zam. It is a very thick team, especially with Bosk lead in there. Zam takes a while to get down, but once the exposures start landing, these guys end up doing tons of good damage. Luckily, blind landed on a lot of these guys, so none of the thermals landed. Otherwise, that would have been very banner stripping as well. Now I'm just going to take out Boba Fett because he can get some serious damage done as well. So I take out Boba Fett, and then finally, with one final hit, take care of Dengar. So end with 65 over here as well. So far on the other teams, I'm doing okay. 65 banners each on the Hux team and the Zam team. And then I decide to go against so I still had my Sith Eternal, non-ultimate Sith Eternal, but there's very few things that you can do with him. I didn't really know what he could take out without his ultimate, so I just decided to take him in with Armorer against this particular team. If he did have his ultimate, I would have probably easily soloed this team or the JTR team down south, but I needed his protection recovery because this team will do tons of damage and can easily take you out if you go in solo. So I decided to at least get a couple of stacks of Beskar on him, and be able to recover at least some amount of protection. So that's what I'm doing over here. This is going to be a very very quick. It's going to take a while. It's going to be a slow battle because it's war by attrition. What I'm trying to do over here is try to apply link to as many people as possible, so that they all end up having zero protection, and all that protection gets transferred over to me. And once they have zero protection and all health, then they're a little softer and easier to take out. So that's what I'm doing over here. I applied link over here initially on Finn and Vethan, and then I applied link on Poe and Scavenger. The Armorer is about to bite the dust, which is expected, but the rest of my team is, C is doing okay, and I'm just trying to take down as many people as possible with as many max banners as possible. I was actually hoping to see Gas at the back because this would have been a perfect team for Gas, but that's fine. The ability block is a little bit of a problem because unlike Watt, who cleanses, C does not, the Armorer does not cleanse, but even basics over here are no problem at all. This team, the Resist team really can't do anything to take C down, so it's just a matter of time before these characters get taken out. And they really have no way of healing. I think Finn was the only character who could heal them, so as long as Finn is gone, these guys will die automatically to Sith Eternal. Rey is doing some amount of damage, but so I need to take her out first. But again, it's not enough damage to take care of Sith Eternal. Today I should be getting the ultimate on Sith Eternal, and then by next match, this should give me a little more flexibility on what I can take Sith Eternal against on offense. So there you go, 65 banners because I lost 3 banners on Armorer in there, but I needed to make sure that I'm doing as much as I can to preserve banners. So 65 on 3 battles over there. Decided to take in only these 3, Darth Traya, Scion, and Nihilus against the Mon Mothma team. I typically, maybe I should have taken in at least a tank or something else because you can see what happens over here. I thought that these guys would be okay, but you have to remember my Traya team is only G12, all three of them. And especially with this expanded format, it's becoming more and more apparent to me that you need your Sith trio relic, and not only relic but highly relic. Because look at this, that Nihilus was taken out in the very first turn without much of an issue. These guys have just tons of damage out there. So I'm in a bit of a problem right now because I thought that these guys will survive at least until until the Scion AOE is able to take them out, but no such luck. So I'm trying to at least ensure that Traya survives. I'm luckily able to get the ability off from Scion, but Traya is in red health, and there's no other Sith to help her recover health. And Traya also bites the dust, and this is very problematic for me. But lucky AoE from Scion is able to take care of Mon Mothma, so there's no more reviving that's going to be taking place. And I just need to make sure that I get rid of these last two characters with Scion alone standing. And this becomes slightly problematic because you have I can take care of the other characters easily, but Scarif Rebel Pathfinder is a little problematic because he keeps getting these buffs, and you need to be able to kill him while he doesn't have any buffs. And every time he does his basic, he gains buffs. So I need to make sure that I get 2 turns in a row after dispelling him to be able to take him out. So that's what I do over here. I dispel, and then one final turn, and I take him out. So 60 banners, not the best. I don't know what I could have taken against it. I was really running short on teams, but that had to do. There was no other option. I had let's take a look at these ships. As expected, there is Executor and Negotiator on defense, and this is the Snips version of Negotiator, which makes it a little tricky for a few comps. But let's go ahead and take out the final team and then see how we are placed head to head with my opponent. I decided to take in, I still had my Grievous, which is probably the only other team I had left. So I decided to take in Grievous against this JTR squad. It's interesting. He's got L3 in there instead of JTR, instead of the other droids. I think the reason for that is to prevent the trooper counter, because if L3 wasn't there, this team was very, very trooperable, and I would have probably taken troopers against that. Of course, troopers ended up getting a much better use by helping me take out Lord Vader, but ultimately over here, since I had Grievous, I could end up using Grievous over here for no problem at all. And once you start spreading the target locks and all that, the Grievous team does a pretty decent job of recovering health and protection. All right, so all the main damage dealers are gone. We just have Holdo and L3 left. Not really much chance of taking protection up on the droid, so I just try to take protection up on Newt, because at least he can be fully healed, him and GG. But not much chance to heal GG, and I end with 62 banners over there. So 365s with 60 and a 62. I'm doing okay in terms of banners, not the best, but if I take a look at it from an apples to apples comparison, after clearing the character zone, my opponent has got 1375 and I've got 1357. It's 18 banner difference. And I've dropped one battle and my opponent hasn't dropped. So if not for that drop battle, I would have been probably neck to neck, maybe over by about 2 banners or so. But going into ships, both of us are neck to neck. It's anybody's game. I definitely wasn't expecting a one-shot on my character zone. And with an 18 banner lead already on ships, my opponent can afford to drop one battle on ships. But I need to one-shot my ship zone to put pressure on my opponent. So before my opponent even decides to go for ships, I decide to go ahead and clear ships and see what happens. Go against I take my Malevolence versus the Executor first. So they targeted TFP, which is good. It's a good outcome. Here I always like to do the AoE first, just so that I have the AoE available at a later stage in order to take some key characters out. So AoE is done, and then I, do the AoE with Hyena Bomber, and then I get Spy out and hope for a lucky taunt on Xanadu Blood. That wasn't the case. Ended up landing the taunt on Bam, but did manage to take him out, at least exhaust his savior in the first try. Now I just have to get him down again. All right, so um, this is where I cleanse with the Hyena Bomber and start to go after Razor Crest, and did manage to take him out, which was a good thing, because the rest of my ships are falling like flies. Now I immediately get an Eben Hawk and start going after Cad Bane, because he's the next most dangerous ship out there, and do one big hit and almost took him out. He's in the red, but and he was able to go again and take out uh, my Karth ship. Now, it's not a good situation. I've got 4 versus 2, and I'm still one away from my ultimate. And you can see over here, it's a good thing that I did my mass assist, not mass assist, but the AOE initially, because right now AOE was available for me, and I was able to take out Cad Bane with that AOE. So now it's 3 ships versus 3 ships, but my Hyena Bomber has been stunned, which is again not good. And now I'm down back to 1 ship. um, Tricky situation to be in, and I'm trying to see if I can't take out Bosk over here. Luckily, I do have my Sunfac that I can get in to stun Bosk and then take him out as soon as I can. So I'm trying to do AoEs over here, and there must be some assist bug over here, because even though that Houndstooth had um, buzz droids, none of my ships assisted. Maybe it's a visual bug or something like that, but I was pretty disappointed with that. I thought I'd at least be able to take out Bosk with the mass assist from all of them, but that wasn't to be the case. And the Executor got its ultimate off, stunned all my ships, and that was the end of the game. We have taken out a couple of ships, but we do have Bosk's ship as well as IG 100 ship out there. So it's not an easy cleanup, but not a very tough cleanup as well. So I decided to take in my rebels against that, and try to see if I can't clean that up. So ability block, not ideal on Biston, because you want him to go and apply target locks as soon as possible. Trying to go after Boba, but unfortunately, couldn't finish him. Now over here, I decide to heal Biston, because it's Mass Assist is not going to do anything much. I need my Biston around as much as possible. So Biggs nearly got taken out again, but again another Mass Assist, and I'm trying to keep Biggs alive over here. Uh, Boba's ship is out in the open, so I decide to almost take him out. Biggs is still hanging in there, just about hanging in there. Decide to call in an extra taunt, because if my Biggs goes, then my ships are done for. There would be no taunt, and Biston would be taken out very easily. So I've got a couple of taunters in there, lots of dodges from IG-11, but my Biggs is still hanging in there somehow. I don't know how. Decide to go after IG-11 ship, take him out, and now there's only Bosk's ship left. Biggs is still hanging in there with just red health, but we are in a much better position right now. Do an AoE to try to recover some more protection on my Biggs, apply target lock, and now I need to take out the troublesome Bosk ship. I did manage to land that debuff, which gets rid of his protection, so that makes it slightly easier. But I still need to bring in one more ship. And Wedge's ship is actually a really good one for cleaning up Houndstooth, because it applies buff immunity and healing immunity, which, and it lands a big hit, which makes it easy enough to clean Houndstooth. So Wedge's ship did prove pretty helpful over there. So 48 banners, which is not ideal, but it would have been maybe 7-8 banners lower than a 1-shot with Malevolence anyway, so not the end of the world. A 2-shot with the with Malevolence is fine. But the fact of the matter is, my opponent has one shot my board, and I've dropped two battles, one in the character zone and one in the ship zone. So there's no more room. I need to make sure that my opponent either does not clear me or drops a ton of battles on ships. Otherwise, I am lost. And you can see over here, it's a negotiator mirror, and these ones, depending on how things go, you can very easily lose it, or you can lose tons of banners. So I needed to make sure that I come out of this negotiator mirror with decent enough banners. And he's kept only two ships in the reinforcement, which means that Plo is going to come out early and mess things up. So I needed to make sure I play this really, really carefully. So very first, what I need to do is apply a basic from fives on Ahsoka, so that she cleanses it and gives herself retribution and does not do the big hit, which would prove to be problematic. And then I was able to win the toss and go first and take out Ahsoka. Now it's a question. It's a very easy job of just maintaining health on my ships and making sure that I take out the enemy ships one by one. Um, so exhausted the Valor on Jedi Knight Anakin, and then I get in my own Plo. That's absolutely the first ship that you want in there. Uh, generate some turn meter, try to make sure that I get out BTL Y-Wing, and there, he's taken care of. And the battle is very much under control. So there you go. Plo is the first reinforcement, but it did land the taunt on Anakin, which is not ideal. But ideal for me. Hey, so I'm in a pretty good position over here. I land a second taunt on fives to ensure that no funny business happens with Anakin in case one of the taunt goes, and then I'm able to take out Anakin. Now it's a question of recovering banners. So instead of snips, decide to call in um, Rex, because Rex is great at banner recovery. Um, with every time that my ships resist, all of them end up getting tons of banners to recover. So I'm just trying to heal up whoever I can, and with one mass assist over here, I end up clearing it and end with about 72 banners, which is, I was pretty happy with that for a negotiator mirror. So final outcome is I got 1667, and my opponent still has to go on the ships, and he needs to get a total of 106 banners on the two ship battles in order to win. So if he one shots my Tarkin for 65-70, he only needs 30 or 40 banners on the Malevolence to win. So it's got more than enough chance to multi-shot it and still come out with a victory. So when I went in there, what I saw that my opponent dropped 3 battles on my executive fleet, which is great because a third battle means an extra 10 banners lost, which gives me a little more wiggle room, and that means that on the final battle, on the Executrix battle, the Tarkin battle, my opponent needed to get 67 banners to tie me, and that's a tall order. So 67 banners puts in a one shot, especially against a banner stealing team like Executrix with tons of AOE and tons of damage. That means that you have to go undersized. 67 is the new 60. Or initially, in the old days it used to be 60. That means you can't afford to drop more than 5 or 6 banners. So I think what must have happened over here is my opponent decided to go in undersized in order to make up the 67 banners to get the victory. And ultimately, what ended up happening was my opponent dropped 2 battles on the Executrix. So one battle lost. I think only 2 or 3 ships were left, but he went in with another ship and managed to clean it up and end with I think 50 something banners. So that saved my bacon, because you can see over here, I barely won by about 15 banners. So character zone, my opponent was able to one shot to my surprise, and kudos to my opponent, really good job over there. But luckily, my ship zone was what really saved me, and I won by the skin of my tooth over there. I must have spent like 80 to 90% of my time planning the character zone, and that was like completely one shot, no problem at all for my opponent. And I put in the ship zone after a couple of minutes without really thinking much, and that was the one which ultimately ended up getting the victory for me. So Definitely one of the more exciting matches I've had in a long, long time. In the middle, I felt, especially when I saw the Rey at the back, that particular comp of Rey, I was 90% sure I was not going to clear. And I was just praying that my opponent also ignores my Rey and was not able to clear, so that I at least clear the other stuff and get through with it. But luckily, I was able to clear the Rey, get the full clear, and win, just barely win with about 15 banners. So definitely a very exciting, a big roller coaster, and kudos to my opponent for doing such a great job on my defense and setting such a tough and unpredictable defense as well. I definitely wasn't expecting Rey Cat. So that's it. That's the end of the season. This week we have gone 3-0, and for the season I've gone 9-3. So I went 2-1 in the first 3 weeks of the season, and 3-0 in the last week, which gets my score to about 4,025. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I think 4,000 is around the around my wall. That's where I probably will end up remaining at, and uh, you know 9-3 is okay for a first season. I will get tougher matches now that I'm at the 4,000 skill rating. I will get tougher matches in all the weeks next week going forward. So I totally expect to go 6-6 or 7-5 in future seasons of GAC. But I'm okay with that result, because even if you go 7-5, so say you get about 30 banners per victory or 30 skill rating point jump up per victory. If you go 7-5, that means that season you rise by 60 banners, by 60 skill rating points. So if I go 7-5 next season, my 40-25 will probably be closer to 4,100. And that's a very decent spot to go to be in as well. So that's my goal. End the next season at least at 7-5, so that I get as close to 4,100 as I can. I believe 4150 or 4120 is where the top 50 starts off. So, getting 4100 will get me close to the top 100, top 50 range, which I'm more than happy with, given the level of my roster and all that. I feel that I would be punching above my weight at that particular level. But anything above 4000 is I'm more than happy with. All right, so that's it for this season, and that's it for from me for at least another week. I will catch you guys next season for the second season of this revised GAC. Really looking forward to what kind of matchups we will get. If it's any indication of the kind of opponents we got this week, all four of our weeks next week are going to be similar caliber of opponents, which means that we will have to be on top of our game to do a decent job against them. But by then I'll have all the 6 GLs, all the ultimates and all of them, and a few important Omicrons as well. So hopefully we'll put up a fight against some good rosters. All the best to you guys in the next season. Hope you guys did well in this season. I will catch you guys in a week. Take care and happy gaming.